Colfax, the river of sirens. There is a razor in a tin, rope in a bag, a temptation I stave off again and again, things I haven't done in decades that I could do today, responsibilities that pull me from relief, the sweet dream, back into what I wanted to escape. Pain. So vast, I will never be the same, immediate as binding, blinding, bone deep, ancient. Pangs so infinite I fear they will never pass, that they will ever come back. There are things to be done. I did them yesterday. I do them today. I made promises to myself. I cannot promise I will do them again tomorrow. Cannot see the way forward, toward the life. I know where the exits are. Fondle the tools in my mind's eye. Death is an easy plan to make, a hard promise to keep. When there is always the excuse of commitment pulling tight against my feet, I cannot see my death, cannot see past it. Just like life, from now, made of many miracles. Maybe a miracle is coming. Maybe my last one was my last one, and this is where it has led. But it doesn't have to be. I wait, keep going, hold on, keep trying, wait more, make moves when there are moves to make. Try to keep from going through the motions already dead. Try to remember that it hurts because I am alive, because I love. Try to let that be enough. Not a reason for living. Obligation is an excuse, a promise to keep to you. But no duty could keep me. Spring. Spring is my favorite season. I'm not even embarrassed about it. My favorite pleasure in the world is to be in a flowering tree. Heavenly. They are panacea. I live for spring. There have been many glorious days, but the one I recall was errand day, spring of '08 it would have been. I put on my favorite clothes, took the acid in my freezer, and set out to run errands. It was a beautiful day. There were crabapple blossoms in the medians of the JCRS Center, and I floated along them until they were gone. A moment between bus stops, right before the guy started circling me in his truck, that I later saw at a coffee shop with the lady I longed to warn. Around that time, there was a man whom I adored, who took a picture of a tiny leaf growing straight out of a trunk, and he gave it to me. Beyond susceptible to flattery, I am a romantic. Of course I love spring. I live for the black green of leaves and the undulating blues of early morning, which I haven't seen in some time, which means I have something to look forward to, for the way a breeze will dance the trees along a walk, catch light in aspen and sing, the feel of precious mud underfoot, the feel of water, blessed grass that grows through the cracks. Around that time, I took a picture of a row of cottonwood sprouts growing in the seam between asphalt and concrete on the walk home from my stop, and I gave it to him. Natural, pleasure-seeking, sappy. Partner, 8 years ago, I had a dream where I never thought I would love again, and then I did, and it shattered my heart completely. Walking like a lone penguin towards certain death, away, wherever that took me. Glistening formations grew like black calcite, like receding glaciers around spires of old, old ice, not like silicates, white. The angles of the spikes were like nothing I had ever seen, awake or dreaming, because the ice had not melted that far in yet, and I did not know black calcite existed. I thought, I must be on a different planet. The light was back in my eyes. Again. I thought, I lived for love. Now I will live for beauty. Like an old friend told me, every time a heart breaks, it grows. Taking nothing for granted is not the same thing as resignation. As a dear friend once said, it could always be worse, but that is not a recipe for greatness. Over half my life has been lived off of Colfax, the river of Sirens, the longest and wickedest street in America, to quote a bad man. I've lived off Dudley, Kipling, Dover, Salisbury, Reed, Gray, Upham, Wadsworth, Everett, Colorado, and Cook in that order. Hell, I live off the hard Colfax now. Lots of people still live on it. I understand this place. I know how to feel beauty, how to flash grow in rain, to take nothing for granted, how each spring is a miracle, each median an oasis in a criminal, unforgivable desert plain poisoning the confluence, how to be grateful for every little thing. I want better days, for the glory of the day to be unfettered, to be able to enjoy it like I did when I was oblivious, whenever that was, or maybe just before I noticed some things. But for that to happen, things have to change. Being ideologically opposed to ostriching has made life off of the cold hard facts untellably interesting. I can't explain the serendipity, the synchronicity, the sorrow, but I know that we are all here for a reason, and that is because our parents' gametes touched. I know that life is unlivable without meaning, and has only what meaning we impart. Living works of art, the trees have decided what makes winter worth it to them. Whatever that is, I'm glad it exists. I think they must have chosen wisely. I know what I live for. Sometimes I remember. Sometimes it's enough. When it's not, what do you want from me? I tap out, order sushi. Try not to downward spiral into how lucky and selfish. I call it suicide sushi. No matter how expensive it is, it doesn't matter if it's going to be my last meal. And it could always be. I used to get terrible recurring respiratory infections in my early 20s. Go down to the vitamin cottage and ask the big books there, what the hell? I tried everything but fasting, which the big books seemed to recommend for every ailment, about which I asked them. Being a feminist, I refused the advice on principle. Bought all this OSHA tincture I couldn't afford. Finally, I was so desperate to breathe, I planned one. 3 days raw food, 9 days of morning tea, breakfast smoothie, watered down daytime juice, evening kombucha, and water. 3 days raw food. That's 15 days without oil, 9 without salt, all without smoking. I was a baker. After that first fast, I didn't get sick again for 2 years. People can talk shit, but I ate better on fast than off them, and that shit worked. Still, after that first one, I started saying all bellicose, if I'd have died during that time, I'd have wished I'd have had that cinnamon roll. So, I order suicide sushi. Coast. Remember that I have done impossibly hard things. And usually, I feel better afterward. It's simple, hedonistic, maybe even trite. But it works. Remembering when I had to choose between rent and food, I tip extravagantly. It works every time. 'Cause it's always the simplest shit that means the most, that means the most.